to start off with a question. When was the last time you picked up a new hobby you knew you'd be terrible at? I'm not talking a little mildly rusty. I mean, you truly knew you would be terrible and you signed up anyway. Most adults can't really answer that question because life becomes a carefully curated experience of things we're already good at. Things that feel safe, things that protect us from looking foolish. Because why would you ever step into an arena where that much failure is inevitable? But what if I told you that that very arena where you struggle and miss, fall short and pick yourself back up just might be the very place where the greatest growth of your life is waiting? About 5 years ago, I found myself in a place where my whole world was falling apart. I felt like I was failing at everything. I didn't take to motherhood quite as naturally as my friends did, so I thought I was failing as a new mom. My businesses were failing. Even my marriage was failing. It was the lowest point in my adult life. Rock bottom. Now, I remember I was in therapy at the time, and I had this pivotal conversation with my therapist. I said, this is going to sound really weird, but I think about my childhood every single day. It's this deep, nostalgic sadness. I miss it so much. I listen to emo 90s music and daydream about the years when my whole world revolved around extracurriculars, gymnastics in particular. Beam was my thing, and I was obsessed with improving my score at every meet. A 9.1, and then at the next meet, a 9.25, and then at the next meet, I'd fall. 5.8. But you see, even in those moments, I knew there was always another meet coming up, another opportunity to get back up on that beam and prove to those judges that I was no quitter. And that was addicting. In those moments, 12-year-old Megan was inadvertently building a muscle most of you also built throughout your childhood the same way. It's the muscle of failing properly, failing with a good attitude, failing without self-destruction, failing while shaking the hands of our very opponents, failing while celebrating other people's wins. So that nostalgia, where did it come from? Why did I miss the cycle of failure and growth? And why or how would I want to incorporate that into my adult years? After that therapy session, I was determined to find some answers. And I found research from Stanford University psychologist Carol Dweck, which suggests that we all fall into two broad mindset categories: the growth mindset and the fixed mindset. Now, within the growth mindset, we yearn for challenges that allow our abilities to improve. We see failure as a blessing, an opportunity to learn and to grow. And we seek out those challenges, we celebrate those wins. So that's the growth mindset. But the fixed mindset, on the other hand, we think our abilities are static. We avoid challenges because failure threatens our identity and our ego. Why would I try snowboarding in my 40s? It's too late for that. No way. Yeah, you enjoy your rock climbing. I'll be down here with my glass of wine watching. So, which mindset do you think that children tend to have? Let's think about it. I mean, they don't have egos yet. They are learning new things every single day. And tell me you haven't seen the optimism on a child's eyes when they pick up a baseball for the very first time. Children tend to operate in a growth mindset. However, as we become adults, we slowly drift towards the fixed mindset because we begin protecting our identities as capable, as competent, as people who have it all together. And then we stop facing our challenges, and we slowly start to walk away from the things that become a little bit too challenging. Maybe the coworker outperformed us. We didn't get the promotion that we thought we deserved. Or we quit going to the new gym after just 2 weeks. We simply exit the arena, we move on to something that feels easier. Scrolling, watching, consuming, and just like that, we replace the growth hobbies of our childhood with consumption hobbies in adulthood. According to the CDC, we now spend about 4 hours a day on leisure screen time. Not screen time, leisure screen time, meaning it's a hobby now. So instead of playing sports, we're placing bets on them. Instead of making art, we are scrolling it. Instead of auditioning for the play, we're obsessing over the lives of reality TV stars. You see, without even realizing it, we stopped practicing failure. And when you stop practicing failure, your need to be right and to be perfect isn't challenged anymore. We've created these lives of things that we're already really good at so that we could avoid our weaknesses, but the result is that we avoid the growth mindset and potentially altogether lose it. So at that point in my life, when I was at rock bottom, my question to myself then became, how can I restore the growth mindset that I built on that balance beam 20 years ago? That's what I need in order to fail better as an adult. Research shows that hobbies with gradual improvement, such as music and art, are highly, highly addictive. It's because of that gradual improvement. Each tiny step forward triggers a spike in dopamine, neurologists call the dopamine learning loop. Our brains, even as adults, are never done rewiring themselves. And so every time we push through beginnerhood and challenge ourselves, the brain is forming new neural pathways. Our brains grow when we are beginners. A study with over 50,000 adults proved that the more hobbies we have in our midlife, the lower our risk of cognitive decline and dementia. Our brains grow when we are beginners. What good news is that? That's really good news. So I set out to find myself a hobby that would take me away from trying to build this fake life of perfection and instead throw me into the arena of beginnerhood. I was so excited. I took up the one sport designed to humble you every time you play: golf. Now, in my first few years of golf, I had to buy those big gallon buckets because I lost so many balls. I mean, I was so terrible, but for the first time in a long time, I was a kid again. And while I was throwing my 9-iron into the woods and throwing temper tantrums in my 30s, I was learning how to fail all over again. Because when you look down that beautiful green ribbon of grass in front of you, nothing behind you matters. Not your first shot that splashed into the water, not your 4-putt disaster on the last. All that exists is this quiet little patch of possibility. The sun on the fairway, the birds are chirping, the press of the tee into the ground. And for those next 60 seconds when you set up to the ball, you have the optimism of a kid again, the growth mindset. Because what do you think to yourself in those moments? Gonna be perfect. Maybe this is the shot that flies straight down the fairway and rolls right up to the green, and you know what? Maybe it doesn't. But if it doesn't, there is always another tee box waiting ahead. You see, it was never about the golf. It was about me. Because after a while, I stopped flinching when I was taking feedback from my coach, which meant I stopped taking feedback in the workplace so personally. I stopped losing my patience in the sand trap, which meant I stopped losing my patience with people. I learned to trust myself with a difficult shot, which meant I loosened my grip on my son so that he could learn to find his own swing too. I began playing with retired professionals that I was paired up with that I'd never met before, which meant I began walking into rooms I never would have ever believed I belonged in before, and I started to step up to every tee box without looking at the last hole, which means I could focus on my future finally without staring at my past. You see what Beginnerhood has done for me, what it can do for you. It was never about the golf. It was never about the balance beam. It was about me. It made me a better friend. It made me a better founder. It made me a better mother. And now I want it to be about you. So I have an invitation for you today to find something that you're bad at and you march into that arena ready to fail, ready to progress slowly. Chess, painting, dancing, skiing. If you can't think of something, I promise you suck at golf. And remember, the goal isn't mastery. The goal is to practice failing. Know that some of the shots ahead of you are going to be awful. Swing anyway. Because the real secret to thriving in adulthood with the same optimism that we had in our childhood isn't avoiding failure. It's learning to always love the next shot. Thank you.